Ksitigarbha, the silent heart in the midst of suffering. What if the darkest place in your life is not the end of your story, but the place where compassion is waiting to be born? What if the hell we fear is not only somewhere after death, but also the silent room inside the heart? The room where hope has gone cold, where trust has been broken, where a person smiles in front of others and quietly collapses when no one is looking. And what if the light we keep praying for does not come from the sky in a sudden miracle, but rises from a heart that refuses to turn away from suffering? Tonight, let us enter the Great Vow of Ksitigarbha, the Bodhisattva we know as Earth Store, the one who stands where pain is deepest and hope is weakest. Let us listen not only with the mind that wants to understand, but with the heart that is ready to awaken. Welcome to Buddha Peaceful Mind. May this reflection bring gentleness to your breathing, clarity to your thoughts, and warmth to your heart. If this teaching brings you even a little peace, you are welcome to stay with this channel, to like this video, and to walk with us in future reflections. The story of Ksitigarbha is often told with great beauty. A child sees a mother trapped in painful karma. Out of love, that child makes a vast vow. As the vow deepens through countless lives, the child becomes a bodhisattva of immeasurable compassion. The vow is simple in words, but endless in meaning. Until the hells are empty, I will not become a Buddha. Until all beings are freed, I will not rest. Many people hear those words and think only of a faraway spiritual world, of invisible realms, of punishment and salvation. But the Buddha always pointed us back to direct seeing. He pointed us back to this mind, this moment, this life. If we listen carefully, the vow of Ksitigarbha is not only about the hells after death. It is also about the hells we create within ourselves through ignorance, anger, fear, pride, and despair. A heart burning with hatred is already a hell. A mind trapped in shame is already a hell. A family living under one roof but unable to speak honestly to one another is already a hell. A person who no longer believes their life has meaning is already standing at the gate of hell. The Buddha did not teach to frighten us. He taught to wake us up. He showed that suffering has causes, and because suffering has causes, it can also come to an end. This is why the vow of Ksitigarbha is so powerful. It is not a vow of blind emotion. It is compassion joined with wisdom. It is love that does not look away. It is patience that does not give up. It is clarity that says, even in the darkest place, awakening is still possible. When we hear that Ksitigarbha goes into the lowest realms, we should understand something important. True compassion does not choose only clean places, easy people, or pleasant conditions. Ordinary love often says, I will stay if you make me comfortable. I will stay if you understand me. I will stay if you change quickly. I will stay if your pain does not disturb my peace. But the love of a bodhisattva is different. It says, I see your pain, and I will not abandon you. I see your confusion, and I will still hold open the door of return. This does not mean the bodhisattva agrees with harmful actions. Compassion is not permission. Wisdom never supports wrongdoing. But compassion looks deeper than the surface. It sees that behind every cruel action, there is blindness. Behind every hard heart, there is fear. Behind every desperate grasping, there is suffering. The bodhisattva does not excuse the poison, but sees the wound from which the poison flows. This is very close to the Buddha's own way. He met murderers, grieving parents, proud scholars, frightened monks, jealous disciples, people broken by loss, people intoxicated by power, and people drowning in regret. He did not teach all of them in the same tone. He used different doors for different minds. But in every case, he did not reject their Buddha nature. He did not say, "You are your worst action." He did not say, "You are only your confusion." He pointed them back to the possibility of awakening. To understand Ksitigarbha deeply, we must understand that the Bodhisattva is not merely a figure outside us. Ksitigarbha is also a possibility within us. In Zen language, we could say that this vow points straight to the luminous ground of the heart, the place that does not run from suffering, the place that can stay present without drowning, the place that can love without clinging and guide without controlling. Many people want light, but they do not want to enter darkness. Many people want peace, but they do not want to meet pain. Many people want awakening, but they do not want to look honestly at the ways they abandon themselves and others. Yet the path is exactly there, right there, in the place we keep avoiding. A seed does not bloom in the sky. It blooms in the dark earth. A lamp is not needed at noon. It is needed in the night. And compassion is not proven when everything is easy. It is proven when a heart can remain tender in the middle of difficulty. There is an old image that helps us. Imagine a traveler lost in a forest at night. Rain is falling. The ground is cold. There is no moon. Every direction looks the same. The traveler begins to panic. The mind starts to say, "I am finished. No one knows where I am. No one is coming." The body weakens. Hope shrinks. Then, very far away, a small light appears in the darkness. Not a great sun, not a miracle filling the whole sky, just a small lamp in the distance. But because of that lamp, the traveler takes one more step, then another. The lamp does not remove the whole forest at once. It simply makes the next step possible. This is how the Bodhisattva works. This is how the Dharma works. This is how true love works. It does not always erase the whole pain in one moment. It gives the next true step. And sometimes, the next true step is enough to save a life. Many of us have waited for a giant answer, a perfect healing, a complete explanation. But the Buddha often teaches through the next right step. Breathe. Stop. Look deeply. Do not believe every thought. Do not feed anger with more anger. Do not answer cruelty with more cruelty. Sit beside the suffering without becoming the suffering. Begin again. Speak one truthful word. Offer one bowl of rice. Keep one promise. Light one lamp. This sounds simple, but simple is not small. The whole path is hidden inside such acts. Let us now look more deeply into the hells that appear in human life. When the scriptures speak of fire, ice, hunger, darkness, and chains, we should not rush to make everything symbolic, nor should we reduce everything to literal fear. Instead, we should learn from the image. The Buddha used strong images because our delusions are strong. Some people live in the fire of rage. Some live in the ice of numbness. Some live in the endless hunger of craving. Some live in the darkness of confusion. Some live in the chains of guilt and habit. If we are honest, we have visited all of these places. And here is the painful truth. Many people do not need enemies to suffer. Their own mind is enough. They wake with anxiety. They eat with worry. They speak with hidden resentment. They work without meaning. They compare themselves until joy disappears. They lie awake at night, haunted by what they said, what they failed to say, what they lost, what they fear to lose. Outwardly, their life may seem acceptable. Inwardly, they are carrying a private hell. The teaching of Ksitigarbha tells us something very tender. Even there, compassion can enter. Even there, one can turn back. Even there, no being is beyond the reach of awakening. That is why this vow matters so much in a world like ours. We live in an age of connection, yet people feel profoundly alone. We have endless information, yet little wisdom. We can speak to thousands, yet fail to speak honestly to one person sitting beside us. We know how to perform success, but many do not know how to sit quietly with grief. We know how to distract ourselves, but not how to understand ourselves. So the question is not whether hell exists. The question is whether we recognize the forms it takes in daily life. The question is whether we are willing to become a small lamp for ourselves and for one another. And the deeper question is this: when suffering appears, do we run away or do we turn toward it with wisdom and compassion? This is where the vow begins. There was once a woman in a small village who came to a monk with a face that looked calm, but hands that would not stop trembling. She said, "Master, I do not know what is wrong with me. I have food, I have a home, my children are grown. No one can say my life is bad. But every evening, when the house becomes quiet, I feel as if I am falling into a well. I become afraid for no clear reason. Sometimes I sit in the dark because I do not want to move. Sometimes I cry and I do not know why." The monk did not rush to explain her life. He did not say, "Be grateful," or "Think positive," or "Others have it worse." He poured her a cup of warm tea and asked, "When did you first learn to hide your sadness?" She was silent for a long time. Then she said, "When I was little, my mother was often ill. My father worked far away. I learned that if I cried, I would trouble everyone. So I became useful. I smiled. I worked. I said I was fine." The monk nodded. "Then perhaps what you call fear is not only fear. Perhaps it is the grief of a child who was never allowed to be held." At those words, the woman covered her face and wept. This story is small, but it shows us a deep truth. Many people are not suffering only from what happened yesterday. They are suffering from what was never met many years ago. A forgotten wound does not disappear because we stop speaking of it. It waits in the cellar of the heart. It waits in the body. It waits in silence. Then one day, in a quiet room, it rises. When Ksitigarbha enters hell, we can understand it in this way too. Compassion enters the hidden rooms. Compassion does not only comfort the surface self, it goes where pain has been buried. It kneels beside what has been locked away. It says, "You do not need to hide from me. You do not need to smile for me. You do not need to pretend with me. I am willing to see the part of you that has been left in darkness." This is why deep practice is not performance. It is honesty. It is the courage to admit, I am not only the person others see. I am also carrying fear, grief, anger, and longing. And these too must be brought into the light of awareness. The Buddha spoke often of mindfulness, but mindfulness is not cold observation. Real mindfulness is gentle. Real mindfulness is intimate. It is awareness touched by compassion. Without compassion, awareness can become harsh. We begin to judge ourselves for being anxious, judge ourselves for being angry, judge ourselves for being wounded. Then the practice itself becomes another weapon. But the Buddha's way is not to strike the mind. It is to understand the mind. When anger appears, no anger. When sorrow appears, no sorrow. When jealousy appears, no jealousy. Not to feed it, not to become it, not to deny it, just to know it clearly. Like a mother who sees her child crying in the night and lights a lamp rather than shouting at the darkness. The first lesson hidden inside the vow of Ksitigarbha is this: we cannot free what we refuse to see. People often think awakening means escaping difficult emotions, but the path is not escape. The path is clear seeing. A muddy pond becomes clear not because the mud is hated, but because the water is allowed to become still. In the same way, the heart becomes spacious not because pain is denied, but because pain is held in awareness without panic, without shame, without rejection. There is another small story. A young man once visited an elderly nun who lived near the edge of a mountain path. He said to her, "I am tired of my life. I am angry all the time. My father never believed in me. My brother always compared himself with me. My wife says I am distant. My children are afraid to speak to me. I know I am hurting people, but I do not know how to stop." The nun asked him to carry a burning coal from the hearth to the garden. He picked it up with metal tongs and followed her. She told him, "Now hold it in your bare hand." He looked shocked. "That would burn me." The nun replied, "Yet this is what you do every day. You pick up anger and say, 'I will hold this just a little longer. I will carry it into my house. I will carry it into my speech. I will carry it into my sleep.' Then you wonder why your life is full of burns." The man lowered his head. The nun continued, "Your anger is real. I do not tell you to lie about it. But do not call the coal your identity. Do not build a home around it. Put it down before it becomes the language of your whole life." This is the second lesson. Compassion must include wisdom. To help beings out of hell, we must understand what keeps creating hell. Not outside only, but inside. Anger repeats itself when it is believed. Craving grows when it is fed. Shame deepens when it is hidden. Fear spreads when it is obeyed without examination. In Buddhism, karma is not punishment from an angry universe. Karma is the natural movement of causes and conditions. A seed becomes a flower according to its nature. A habit becomes a destiny when it is repeated long enough. If we plant resentment every day, we should not be surprised when we live in a bitter field. If we plant mindful speech, patience, generosity, and truth, we should not be surprised when peace slowly grows. Ksitigarbha's vow is powerful because it does not stop at sympathy. Sympathy says, "I feel sorry for you." Compassion says, "I am with you." Wisdom says, "Let us also understand the causes of this suffering, so it need not continue forever." This is important in modern life because many people want comfort without transformation. They want relief without honesty. They want peace without discipline. But the Buddha's teaching is both gentle and exact. It embraces us, and it asks something of us. It asks us to look deeply. It asks us to refrain from harming. It asks us to return again and again to awareness. It asks us to stop making altars to our own wounds. One of the reasons we remain in inner hell is that pain gives us a strange identity. A person may say, "I am the one who was betrayed. I am the one who was ignored. I am the one who was not chosen. I am the one who carries the burden alone." This pain may be true, but when we hold it too tightly, it becomes a cage. We no longer simply experience pain. We become devoted to it. We polish it. We tell its story in the same way. We build our sense of self around it. The Buddha does not ask us to erase our story. He asks us not to get trapped inside it. This is one of the most liberating insights on the path. You have pain, but you are not only pain. You have wounds, but you are not only wounds. You have darkness, but you are not only darkness. Beneath the changing weather of the mind, there is an open sky. Beneath the waves of thought, there is awareness itself. Beneath all confusion, the luminous nature of mind has never been destroyed. In some Buddhist traditions, Ksitigarbha is called Earth Store. Think about that image. Earth receives everything. Fallen leaves, rain, ashes, bones, flowers, seeds, tears, blood, footprints. The earth does not reject. It holds. It transforms. A seed buried in earth does not remain a seed forever. Through time, warmth, water, and darkness, it opens. In the same way, the awakened heart can receive pain without becoming pain. It can receive grief without becoming despair. It can receive another person's confusion without hating them for it. This does not mean endless tolerance of abuse. Wisdom knows boundaries. But the heart need not become hard in order to be clear. A common misunderstanding in spiritual life is that compassion means always saying yes. But Ksitigarbha does not save beings through weakness. Compassion without wisdom becomes exhaustion. Wisdom without compassion becomes coldness. The middle way is a heart that is soft and a mind that is clear. If someone is drowning in addiction, loving them does not mean helping them continue. If someone is speaking cruelly, loving them does not mean silently swallowing every wound. If a person is lost in delusion, loving them does not mean agreeing with the delusion. True compassion may sound tender, or it may sound firm. What makes it compassion is not its softness on the surface. What makes it compassion is its intention to reduce suffering and open the door to awakening. The Buddha understood this perfectly. Sometimes he spoke like cool rain. Sometimes he spoke like a bell in the night. Sometimes his words comforted. Sometimes they startled. But always they pointed to freedom. Let us bring this closer still. Think of the people in your own life. There may be someone who has disappointed you many times. Someone difficult. Someone whose behavior is shaped by old pain. Someone who wants love but does not know how to receive it. Someone who pushes others away before they can be abandoned. Someone who turns every conversation into conflict. Someone who calls for help and then refuses it. Such people are hard to love. And yet, this is where the teaching becomes alive. The question is not whether they are easy to love. The question is whether you can see suffering without losing your center. Can you meet their pain without becoming entangled in their confusion? Can you hold boundaries without hatred? Can you tell the truth without contempt? Can you refuse harm without abandoning compassion? This is advanced practice. This is where the Bodhisattva path leaves poetry and enters actual life. This is where the vow becomes real. And we must not forget to apply this same compassion to ourselves. Many people can forgive others more easily than they can forgive themselves. They speak gently to strangers, but inside their own mind, they live under a cruel master. One mistake, and the inner voice says, useless. One failure, and the inner voice says, not enough. One weakness, and the inner voice says, see, you have learned nothing. How can a heart bloom under such a voice? If Ksitigarbha entered your mind tonight, perhaps one of the first hells to visit would be the hell of self-hatred. Perhaps the Bodhisattva would place a hand upon that burning ground and say, enough. You do not awaken through violence against yourself. You do not purify the mind through contempt. You do not become free by making war on your own humanity. Begin with honesty. Continue with patience. Walk with kindness. This too is the path. The woman in the village learned to sit each evening with one candle and one cup of tea. Instead of running from the quiet, she bowed to it. She would place a hand on her chest and say softly, "Little one, I know you are here." Sometimes she cried. Sometimes she felt nothing. Sometimes she felt only restlessness. But she kept the lamp lit. Month by month, the fear lost some of its power. The well did not vanish in one night, but a path appeared beside it. This is how hell begins to empty, not always with thunder, often with a lamp, a breath, a truthful sentence, and the courage to stay. There is another form of hell that many people know very well, the hell of guilt. A father once came to a temple after many years away from spiritual life. He sat in the back and waited until everyone had gone. Then he approached the teacher and said, "I have done something I cannot forgive. Years ago, in anger, I said terrible words to my son. He left the house. I told myself he would return in a few days. Instead, we were separated for years. He built a life in another city. We speak only on holidays. I do not know how to repair what I destroyed. I pray, but I still feel unclean." The teacher listened and asked, "Have you asked your son for forgiveness?" The man said, "Yes." He said he is trying, but I cannot forgive myself. The teacher pointed to the temple floor. "Every morning we sweep this hall. Every evening, dust returns. Do we hate the dust? No. We sweep again. Your remorse can become wisdom, or it can become self-punishment. If it becomes wisdom, it bows, apologizes, learns, and changes. If it becomes self-punishment, it stares at its own stain until it forgets how to serve life." Then the teacher added, "Do not worship your guilt. Use it." The man was startled by those words, but this teaching is very deep. Guilt has two faces. One face is healthy remorse. It says, "I caused harm. I must be honest. I must make amends. I must become more careful." This kind of remorse is clean. It humbles the heart. It opens the door to transformation. But the other face of guilt is ego wearing dark clothes. It says, "I am uniquely terrible. I am beyond repair. My stain is the center of reality." This kind of guilt looks spiritual, but it is still self-centered. It traps us in ourselves. It keeps the attention on me, my failure, my pain, my image of myself. The Bodhisattva path asks more of us. It asks us to bow deeply, repair what can be repaired, accept what cannot be undone, and then offer the rest of our life to awakening. If we truly regret a harmful action, the most meaningful apology is not endless self-condemnation. It is a changed life. This is why the vow of Ksitigarbha is so beautiful. The Bodhisattva does not spend eternity saying, "How terrible this darkness is." The Bodhisattva enters the darkness to help free beings. Compassion is active. It kneels, listens, guides, carries, protects, teaches, and waits. It is not dramatic despair. It is steady presence. There is a small story from an old town near a river. A boatman lived with his daughter after the death of his wife. He loved the child, but grief made him rough. He drank at night, worked in silence, and became impatient over little things. One evening, his daughter dropped a bowl of rice. He shouted so harshly that the child froze in fear. She stopped speaking for the rest of the night. Later, when the boatman went to check on her, he found not anger in her room, but a tiny bowl placed by the window with a single flower inside. Beside it was a note written in a child's hand. "Father, when your heart is stormy, I will put a flower here so you remember the river can also be calm." The boatman sat on the floor and wept. That little flower became his teacher. From that day, he did not change perfectly, but he changed sincerely. Each time anger rose, he saw the flower in his mind. He would step outside, wash his face, and return with fewer sharp words. Years later, he said, "My daughter saved me not by winning against my anger, but by reminding me of my original heart." This is another lesson hidden in the Dharma. Not every being is changed by argument. Some are changed by tenderness. Some are changed by patience. Some are changed by seeing themselves reflected in innocent eyes. Some are changed when they are no longer treated as monsters, but as confused beings capable of returning. Of course, this requires wisdom. A child should not bear the burden of saving a parent. Yet the story reveals something true. Sometimes the strongest medicine is simple and quiet. A flower by the window, a bowl of soup placed at the door, a hand on a shoulder, a letter written with honesty, a moment of listening without correction. Small acts, when born from clear compassion, can open what force cannot open. The world often celebrates dramatic rescue, but the Bodhisattva path often works through steady, almost invisible care. The person who checks on a lonely neighbor, the nurse who speaks softly to the frightened patient, the son who keeps visiting his aging mother, even when she no longer remembers his name, the friend who sits beside someone in grief and does not rush them toward recovery, the teacher who sees the troublemaker in class and quietly notices the sadness under the noise. These acts may not appear heroic, but in the eyes of the Dharma, they are profound. Why? Because they interrupt abandonment. They tell another being, you still belong to the human family. You are not thrown away. You are not reduced to your weakest moment. The opposite of Ksitigarbha's vow is not simply cruelty. Sometimes the opposite is indifference. Indifference says, not my problem. Indifference says, their pain is inconvenient. Indifference says, I will care only when it touches my comfort. This indifference can wear respectable clothes. It can appear busy, educated, successful, spiritual, or even moral. But the heart of awakening cannot bloom in indifference. Awakening is intimacy with life. This does not mean carrying everyone's burden in an unhealthy way. We are not asked to drown in the suffering of the world. The Buddha did not teach emotional collapse. He taught compassionate presence, rooted in wisdom. There is a difference between carrying someone and walking beside them. There is a difference between helping and controlling. There is a difference between compassion and savior identity. Many people burn out because they confuse these things. They want to rescue everyone. They neglect their own mind. They say yes when they should say no. They absorb another person's chaos and call it love. Eventually, resentment grows and compassion dries up. But the Bodhisattva path is not frantic rescuing. It is deep steadiness. To walk this path, we need silence, meditation, ethical clarity, and humility. We need to know when to speak and when to be quiet, when to stay close and when to step back, when to comfort and when to challenge. Imagine a doctor in an emergency room. The doctor may feel concern, but if the doctor becomes flooded with panic, skill disappears. Calm is part of compassion. Clear seeing is part of compassion. In the same way, the awakened heart does not become cold, but it is not swallowed by confusion. It remains present. It breathes. It responds rather than reacts. This is why meditation matters so much. Meditation is not escape from the world. It trains the mind to remain in contact with life without being dragged around by every emotion. A person who cannot sit with their own sorrow will struggle to sit with the sorrow of others. A person who cannot meet their own fear with tenderness will often turn impatient when others are afraid. A person who has never looked deeply into their own anger will either fear anger or unconsciously spread it. So one of the greatest services we can offer the world is honest practice. Not spiritual appearance, not spiritual language, honest practice. Sit quietly, breathe naturally, watch the mind, know what is arising. Do not chase. Do not suppress. Return, return, return. Over time, something miraculous and ordinary begins to happen. We notice the moment before anger becomes speech. We notice the moment before fear becomes retreat. We notice the moment before craving becomes action. We notice the moment before shame becomes hiding. In that moment of noticing, freedom enters. Maybe only a little, but a little freedom is not little. A gap appears. The old chain is no longer seamless. A choice becomes possible. This is how karma changes. This is how old hells begin to lose their fuel. This is how the vow becomes embodied. A grandmother once said to her grandson, "The reason I am kinder now than when I was young is not because life became easy. It is because I have sat beside many fires and finally learned that adding wood does not help." In one sentence, she expressed a whole sutra. Adding wood does not help. Adding blame to guilt does not help. Adding rage to pain does not help. Adding distraction to loneliness does not help. Adding pride to fear does not help. The Dharma is often the art of not adding. When grief comes, let grief come. When sadness comes, let sadness come. When love comes, let love come. When joy comes, let joy come. But do not add the extra story that makes the mind a prison. Do not add the fantasy of control. Do not add the identity of victim or superior or failure. Meet what is here with awareness, and the heart will know its way. There are times, of course, when we cannot find the way alone. Then the vow of Ksitigarbha appears through other beings, a wise teacher, a patient therapist, a good friend, a community that listens, a stranger whose one kind sentence becomes a turning point. Never underestimate these forms of grace. The Dharma does not always arrive dressed in ceremony. Sometimes it arrives as a voice saying, "Stay, breathe. You are not alone." If you are listening now and carrying guilt for something you did years ago, hear this carefully. Do not use the teaching to avoid responsibility. If apology is needed, make it. If repair is possible, attempt it humbly. If restitution is needed, offer it. But after responsibility, do not remain kneeling forever before the altar of your own mistake. Rise and serve. Let the pain teach you how not to wound again. Let it soften your judgment of others. Let it deepen your patience. Let it become compassion. Then even guilt can become part of the path. Then even regret can become fertile earth. Then even a former hell can become a place where wisdom is born. The Bodhisattva does not waste suffering. Neither should we. One of the deepest hells in our time is loneliness. Not just being physically alone, but the feeling that no one truly sees us. The feeling that our words fall to the floor before they reach another heart. The feeling that we must edit ourselves to be accepted. The feeling that we are surrounded by noise and still untouched by understanding. Many people today are starving, not for food, but for presence. A monk once said that one of the greatest forms of generosity is not giving advice, not giving money, not giving solutions, but giving undivided attention. To be listened to without being interrupted, corrected, compared, diagnosed, or hurried is a rare kind of mercy. There is a story of an old woman who came every week to the back of a temple. She never asked a question during the public talks. She never stood close to the teacher. She would simply bow and leave. After many months, a young novice approached her and asked, "Grandmother, why do you keep coming if you never speak?" She smiled and said, "Because here, when the bell rings, I remember that I exist." The novice did not understand. The old woman explained, "In my home, no one is cruel to me, but no one really sees me either. My children are busy. My grandchildren love me, but they are elsewhere. My neighbors greet me politely." Days pass, and sometimes no one looks into my face long enough to know whether I am well or not. But when I sit here and hear the Dharma bell, I remember that life is still calling me. I remember my own heart. This is heartbreaking, and yet it is very common. So many people are not broken by dramatic tragedy. They are worn thin by quiet neglect. They are not struck once by lightning. They are slowly dimmed by years of not being truly met. If Ksitigarbha enters such a life, perhaps the first act is very simple. To stop. To sit down beside the lonely heart. To ring the bell of attention. To say without words, "I see that you are here." This is why listening is a sacred act. When we listen deeply, we are not only gathering information, we are offering refuge. We are giving another being space to unfold. We are telling them, your experience matters enough to be received. But deep listening is difficult. Because most people do not listen. They prepare answers. They defend themselves. They search for openings to tell their own story. They become impatient with pain that has no quick solution. Or they become frightened by silence. The Buddha listened differently. He listened past the spoken words. He listened to fear hiding inside anger, grief hiding inside pride, longing hiding inside argument. He heard the suffering beneath the presentation. Imagine how healing it is to be heard at that depth. There was once a young monk who became irritated by an older monk in his community. The older monk was slow, forgetful, and repeated the same stories many times. The young monk judged him harshly and thought, "Why can he not be more disciplined? Why does he waste everyone's time?" One evening, the abbot asked the young monk to walk with the elder. As they walked, the old monk began once again to tell a story from long ago. This time about a winter when his village suffered hunger. He spoke of losing two sisters within the same season and watching his mother hold the family together by collecting roots from the frozen ground. Halfway through the story, the elder stopped and said softly, "Sometimes I repeat these memories because I do not want the dead to vanish completely." At that moment, the young monk understood. What he had called annoyance was, in part, grief, asking not to be forgotten. His heart changed. This is a vital lesson. Much of what irritates us in others is pain we have not yet understood. The demanding person may be terrified of abandonment. The controlling person may have grown up in chaos. The boastful person may be standing on hidden shame. The overly cheerful person may be covering deep exhaustion. None of this means we excuse unhealthy behavior, but when we see more deeply, our response becomes wiser and less cruel. The Bodhisattva asks not only, "What is this person doing?" The Bodhisattva also asks, "What suffering might be moving beneath this behavior?" This question can save relationships. It can save classrooms. It can save families. It can save our own hearts from hardening. A mother once told a teacher, "My daughter has become impossible. She slams doors. She answers rudely. She stays in her room. Nothing reaches her." The teacher asked, "When did this begin?" The mother said, "Around the time her best friend moved away, and my husband began traveling for work." The teacher replied, "Then perhaps the door she is slamming is not only against you. Perhaps she is slamming it against loss." With that one insight, the mother's posture changed. She did not become weak. She still needed boundaries. But now she approached her daughter with more tenderness and less personal offense. The conflict did not disappear overnight, but a new path opened. Instead of saying only, "Why are you acting like this?" she began saying, "I feel your sadness," even when it is hidden inside anger. Sometimes a human being changes because, for the first time, someone speaks to the wound rather than only to the behavior. This is one reason Buddhist teachings place so much emphasis on compassion and wise speech. Speech can deepen hell, or it can begin to empty it. One sentence spoken at the right time can become medicine. One careless sentence can remain in another person's body for years. How often do people suffer because of words spoken without awareness? A child hears, "Why can't you be like your brother?" and spends 20 years feeling lesser. A spouse hears, "You always ruin everything," and begins to shrink inside the marriage. A student hears, "You are lazy," when what they needed was help and guidance. A parent hears, "You are a burden," and suddenly grows old in a single day. The Buddha described speech as action. Words are not nothing. They shape minds. They shape karmic fields. They shape our sense of what is possible. If you wish to practice the vow of Ksitigarbha in daily life, begin with speech. Before speaking, ask, is it true? Is it timely? Is it helpful? Is it kind? Can it reduce suffering? And if strong truth is needed, ask one more question. Can I speak firmly without hatred? This is difficult, but it is possible. A prison chaplain once visited a man who had committed violence in his youth. The man had spent many years behind bars and had become known for fighting, rage, and silence. The chaplain visited him week after week, but the man rarely spoke. One day, the chaplain entered the room and found the prisoner staring at a small bird outside the barred window. After a long silence, the prisoner said, "Do you think a person can become clean again?" The chaplain answered, "If by clean you mean as if nothing happened, no. The past has happened. But if by clean you mean honest, awake, remorseful, and capable of goodness, yes." The prisoner said, "I do not know how to begin." The chaplain replied, "Begin by not lying when kindness appears. Begin by not spitting on the hand that offers help. Begin by telling one truth you have hidden from yourself." That man later became one of the quietest helpers in the prison hospital wing. He carried water, read letters for the illiterate, and sat with dying inmates who had no visitors. He could not erase his past, but he could stop extending it. This is a perfect image of the path. We may not always undo the old karma, but we can stop feeding it. We can stop passing on what we received unconsciously. We can become the place where a cycle ends. Perhaps this is one of the most beautiful meanings of the vow. The Bodhisattva is not merely someone who enters hell. The Bodhisattva is someone through whom hell stops reproducing itself. What would this look like in a family? It might look like the mother who decides, "The harshness I received will not become the language of my home." It might look like the father who says, "The silence I inherited will end with me. I will learn to apologize." It might look like the daughter who says, "I do not want to pass my bitterness into the next generation." It might look like the son who says, "I will not call numbness strength anymore. I will learn to feel and remain present." This is holy work. Some people think holiness belongs only to temples, robes, bells, and sutras. But holiness also lives in a kitchen, where someone chooses patience over sharpness. It lives in a hospital room, where someone washes the hands of a dying parent without complaint. It lives in a classroom, where a teacher sees beyond a student's noise and protects their dignity. It lives in a quiet apartment, where a lonely person turns off the screen, lights a candle, and speaks kindly to their own suffering for the first time. The Dharma is not far away. The Bodhisattva path is not elsewhere. It is hidden in these exact moments. One of the reasons this teaching touches people so deeply is that almost everyone, at some point, has wished for one thing above all others. Please do not leave me in my pain. Some wish this from God. Some wish it from a parent. Some wish it from a lover. Some wish it from life itself. Some do not say it aloud, but the whole body is saying it. The vow of Ksitigarbha is the cosmic answer to that prayer. It says, "I will not abandon beings in darkness. I will keep entering. I will keep holding open the path. I will keep calling them home. When we take even one step in that spirit, we participate in the vow. Maybe you cannot save the whole world. Maybe you cannot heal every wound in your family. Maybe you cannot remove all loneliness from your own heart today. But can you refrain from adding more harm? Can you listen to one person more deeply? Can you speak one healing sentence? Can you stay with one sorrow instead of numbing it? Can you forgive one little thing? Can you light one lamp? Never despise the small lamp. The night is full of people searching for exactly that. Another great darkness in human life is self-abandonment. This happens when we keep leaving ourselves in order to be accepted. We say yes when the heart means no. We laugh when we are hurting. We stay in places that steadily diminish us. We become the version of ourselves that earns approval, and in doing so, we lose contact with what is true. At first, this may look harmless, even virtuous. People may praise us for being easy, agreeable, useful, calm, strong. But if this pattern continues too long, something inside begins to ache. We no longer know what we feel. We no longer know what we need. We no longer trust our own seeing. Then resentment quietly grows, or numbness grows, or exhaustion grows. Many people come to the Dharma not because they were searching for abstract truth, but because they are tired of living far from themselves. The Buddha's path is a path of return, not return to ego, not return to old stories, but return to direct knowing. Return to the body. Return to the breath. Return to what is actually here. Return to the heart before it is covered by performance. In this sense, the vow of Ksitigarbha also means, I will not leave the lost places within myself. I will go back for them. I will bring awareness into the regions I have neglected. There is a quiet story about a seamstress who spent her whole life caring for others. She raised siblings when she was still a child. She married young, worked constantly, and became the dependable center of a very large family. If anyone needed food, she cooked. If anyone needed money, she found a way. If anyone needed help, she never refused. Everyone said she was generous. Everyone said she was a blessing. Then, in her 60s, after her children had grown, she began to feel strangely empty. She would wake in the morning and not know why tears were already in her eyes. She said to a friend, "My whole life I have been needed. Now I do not know who I am when no one is asking something from me." Her friend brought her to a meditation retreat. On the second day, while sitting in silence, the seamstress had a simple but shocking realization. She saw that she had spent decades stitching together everyone else's life, while her own inner life remained full of unvisited rooms. She had offered love, yes, but often without awareness. She had served others faithfully, but rarely listened inwardly. She had mistaken constant usefulness for wholeness. During walking meditation, she whispered to herself, "I have never asked my own heart how it has survived all these years." That question became the beginning of her healing. This story reveals something subtle. It is possible to give and still be disconnected. It is possible to look compassionate while secretly running from one's own inner world. This is not false compassion exactly, but incomplete compassion. The Bodhisattva path asks us to include the forgotten self, not in selfishness, but in truth. If we abandon ourselves, we eventually abandon others in hidden ways as well. We become resentful, controlling, exhausted, passive, or emotionally absent. That is why self-compassion is not a luxury. It is part of ethical life. Yet self-compassion is often misunderstood. It is not indulgence. It is not saying, whatever I do is fine. It is not protecting our ego from honest reflection. Real self-compassion includes responsibility. It says, I will tell the truth, and I will not hate myself for being unfinished. I will admit where I am bound, and I will not deny my capacity to wake up. I will care for this mind, this body, this life, because they are the ground from which wise action grows. There is also the hell of grief, a hell no one escapes completely. A woman once sat beside her mother's bed during the last week of life. Her mother, once talkative and strong, had become thin and quiet. On the third night, the woman leaned close and asked, "Mother, are you afraid?" The mother answered, "I am not afraid of dying. I am afraid of leaving you still carrying what I failed to heal." The daughter began to cry and said, "Then let us release it now." What followed was not dramatic. No great speech, no perfect closure, just a few simple truths spoken in the dark. The mother said she had often been harsh because she had been frightened all her life. The daughter said she had spent years thinking she was hard to love. The mother wept and said, "No, child. I was hard with love because I did not know how to trust softness." The daughter held her hand until morning. After the funeral, grief still came in waves, but the daughter later said, "My mother did not leave me empty. She left me a gate." Through her final honesty, I understood that many of the wounds between us were not hatred, but fear passed from one generation to another. This is a very deep insight. Often what moves through families is not evil, but unexamined pain. Fear becomes control, shame becomes silence, loneliness becomes criticism, trauma becomes distance. And because no one stops to see clearly, the pattern continues for decades. The Bodhisattva vow is the refusal to let unconscious suffering continue endlessly. It is the courage to say, "This pattern ends here. This wound will be met. This fear will be understood. This inheritance of darkness will not simply be passed on." In Buddhist teaching, impermanence is not only a philosophical idea, it is the fact that gives urgency and tenderness to our life. Because everything changes, we must speak what is true while there is time. Because everyone will part, we must love while there is time. Because even this body will disappear, we must not postpone awakening endlessly. Many people live as if they have unlimited chances to be kind, unlimited chances to apologize, unlimited chances to practice, unlimited chances to say, "I understand now." But impermanence is always near. A phone call changes a family. A diagnosis changes a season. An accident changes a lifetime. The Buddha did not teach impermanence to make us afraid. He taught it to make us sincere. If you know that a flower will wilt, you hold it more gently. If you know that a person will die, you speak more carefully. If you know that anger leaves scars, you become slower with words. If you know that this moment will never return, you become more awake to it. Ksitigarbha's vow, seen through impermanence, becomes even more powerful. It says, "Do not waste this life. Do not sleepwalk through love. Do not assume there will always be another chance to turn back toward the good." There was a man who avoided his brother for 11 years after a conflict over money and inheritance. He said he was protecting his dignity, In truth, he was feeding his hurt. Each year he imagined reconciliation, but pride held the door shut. Then one winter, his brother became seriously ill. Standing outside the hospital room, the man suddenly realized how foolish his righteousness looked beside a fragile human body. He entered, saw his brother sleeping, and wept before a word was spoken. When his brother woke, he whispered, "I thought you had forgotten me." The man replied, "No, I remembered you every day. That was the problem. I remembered the wound and forgot the brother." What a perfect expression of delusion. I remembered the wound and forgot the brother. How often do we do this? We remember the offense and forget the person. We remember the role and forget the heart. We remember our interpretation and forget the living being in front of us. Compassion restores the person. Wisdom restores perspective. Practice restores relationship. This does not always mean reunion. Some situations require distance. Some people remain harmful. Some relationships cannot be rebuilt in the old form. But even where outer reconciliation is impossible, inner release is still possible. To forgive does not always mean to return. Sometimes it means to stop carrying poison. Sometimes it means to stop letting another person rent a room in your mind without paying. Sometimes it means to say, "What happened matters, but I will not devote my remaining life to hatred." Forgiveness in Buddhism is not forgetting, pretending, or spiritual bypassing. It is the gradual dissolving of ill will. It is choosing not to weaponize memory forever. It is freeing the heart from compulsive hostility. And it takes time. Do not force forgiveness as a performance. Let it ripen. First, see the pain clearly. Then honor the boundaries that protect life. Then look deeply into causes and conditions. When understanding deepens, hatred often loses some of its certainty. Not always at once, but slowly, like ice softening in morning light. A woman who had long resented her father finally said during meditation, "I still feel the wound, but I no longer wish to punish him in my mind every day." That was not complete forgiveness, perhaps, but it was the beginning of freedom. This is enough for a beginning. The path often begins smaller than we expect. If you are grieving now, if you are carrying the absence of someone who once held your world together, let the Dharma meet you gently. Grief is not a sign that you are failing. It is the echo of love in a world of impermanence. Do not be ashamed of it. Sit with it. Breathe with it. Speak to the departed if you must. Cry if the tears come, but do not close your heart around grief until grief becomes your only identity. Let it move. Let it teach. Let it deepen your compassion for every being who has also lost. One elder said, "The dead do not ask us to become stone. They ask us to live so fully and kindly that their love continues through us." This is beautiful and true. When grief is met with awareness, it can ripen into gratitude. Not immediately, not neatly, but genuinely. We begin to say, "I miss you, and I will honor you by becoming more awake." In this way, even grief can become a lamp. Even death can become a teacher. Even endings can reveal the vow. The Bodhisattva enters not only the hell of rage and despair, but also the valley of mourning. There too, the hand of compassion is needed. There too, the teaching whispers, "Stay close, breathe." Love is not ended by form changing. And the best way to honor what has passed is to awaken now. Let us come even closer to daily life. Many people hear a teaching like this and feel moved, but then wonder, how do I live it on an ordinary Tuesday? How do I carry the vow into traffic, work, parenting, marriage, illness, money, fatigue, and disappointment? How do I keep compassion alive when life is repetitive and the mind is easily pulled back into old habits? The answer is not to become grand. The answer is to become sincere. A sincere practice changes a life more surely than a dramatic mood. When you wake in the morning, before touching the phone, before entering the machinery of comparison and urgency, take one conscious breath. Feel that you are alive. Feel that this day has not yet been wasted. Place a hand over the heart if it helps, and make a simple vow such as, may I not add unnecessary suffering today. May my words be cleaner. May my mind return quickly when it wanders into hostility. May I remember that every person I meet is carrying something unseen. This is already Ksitigarbha practice. When you wash your face, know you are washing your face. When you drink tea, know you are drinking tea. This sounds ordinary because it is ordinary. But ordinariness deeply inhabited becomes sacred. A scattered mind cannot respond wisely. A mind that lives half in memory, half in fantasy, and never fully in the present will keep repeating old karma. Presence is the ground of freedom. At work, notice how quickly impatience arises. Notice the body tightening, the mind judging, the mouth preparing sharpness. In that exact moment, pause. One breath, two breaths. Let awareness arrive before speech does. Ask yourself, what is needed here? Not what will prove that I am right, not what will protect my pride. What is needed here? Sometimes what is needed is silence. Sometimes it is truth. Sometimes it is apology. Sometimes it is humor. Sometimes it is a firm boundary. Sometimes it is simply not adding more heat. A school teacher once told me that one difficult student transformed her practice. The boy interrupted constantly, mocked classmates, and seemed to challenge every instruction. At first, she responded with increasing frustration. Then one day she learned that the boy's home life was unstable and full of late-night conflict. The next morning, instead of greeting him with tension, she met him at the door and said, "I'm glad you are here today." The boy looked startled, then suspicious, then confused. Nothing magical happened that week. He still acted out, but the teacher's heart changed. And because her heart changed, her responses changed. Over time, the student grew less aggressive. Years later, he told her, "You were the first adult who seemed to expect more from me without making me feel worthless." This is a profound example of wise compassion. She did not become permissive. She did not ignore his behavior. She remained clear, but she stopped relating only to the disturbance and started relating to the being inside the disturbance. This is what practice looks like. If you are a parent, Ksitigarbha practice may mean kneeling down to look into your child's eyes before correcting them. It may mean noticing whether your anger is really about the child or about your own exhaustion. It may mean apologizing when you speak too harshly. Many adults underestimate the spiritual power of apology. A sincere apology tells a child, power does not need to be cruel. Authority can still bow to truth. Love does not become smaller by admitting harm. It becomes trustworthy. If you are caring for an aging parent, Practice may mean learning to serve with tenderness, without expecting the old relationship to suddenly become perfect. Some people spend years nursing a parent while secretly waiting for one final conversation that will heal everything. Sometimes that conversation comes. Often it does not. Then what? Then the path is still here. You can offer care without demanding that the past rewrite itself. You can give water, medicine, patience, and clean sheets, and let those acts become their own kind of prayer. If you are living alone, practice may mean becoming a true friend to your own mind. It may mean noticing how easily loneliness turns into compulsive distraction. It may mean creating a small evening ritual of return, a candle, a few breaths, a verse of loving kindness, a question asked honestly. What is my heart carrying today? Then listen without rushing. A businessman once said that the loneliest moment of his life came not when he was physically alone, but when he realized he had spent years succeeding outwardly while inwardly becoming a stranger to himself. He could negotiate contracts, manage teams, and impress rooms full of people, but he did not know how to sit still for 10 minutes without discomfort. When he finally began meditation, he told his teacher, "The first thing I discovered was how noisy my mind was. The second thing I discovered was how long I had been trying not to hear it." That is the beginning for many of us. We sit down and suddenly meet the crowd inside. Plans, memories, resentments, fantasies, fears, songs, old conversations, future arguments. The mind has been speaking all along, but we were moving too fast to hear it. Do not be discouraged by this. To see the noise is already a form of waking up. A cluttered room can be cleaned. A dark room can be lit. But first, it must be entered. There is a practice in some traditions of mentally sending loving kindness first to oneself, then to a loved one, then to a neutral person, then to a difficult person, and then to all beings. This is not sentimental. It is training. It stretches the heart beyond preference. Most people are willing to wish peace for those they already like. The Bodhisattva path asks for more. Can you wish peace, not agreement, but peace, even for the one who has caused pain? Can you at least begin with the aspiration? May this being no longer be ruled by ignorance and hatred. This does not erase justice. It does not erase consequence, but it protects your own heart from becoming organized around enmity. A prison guard once began this practice reluctantly. He had worked for years among violent offenders and had become emotionally armored. When the teacher suggested sending loving kindness even to difficult people, he resisted. "Some of them do terrible things," he said. The teacher answered, "Yes, which is why it would be good if hatred stopped ruling them." The guard began with a very small phrase, "May they not create more suffering." He could not yet say more, but he repeated that line each night. After months of practice, he noticed something unexpected. He was becoming less poisoned by bitterness. He still upheld order. He still saw clearly. But the hardness inside him loosened. He later said, "I thought I was protecting myself by hating. In truth, hatred was living in my body like a slow fire." This is important. We often think our inner hostility belongs to others, but it lives in us. It changes our breath, our sleep, our face, our nervous system, our relationships. To release hatred is not a gift only to the other person. It is also a gift to this life. this body, this present moment. If you want to practice Ksitigarbha's vow, do not wait for dramatic opportunities. Begin with the recurring places where you usually go unconscious. Your morning rush, your family table, your commute, your inbox, your moments of fatigue, your tendency to withdraw when hurt, your habit of speaking too quickly, your habit of assuming the worst. These are the gates where the underworld opens in daily life. These are also the places where awareness can descend with a lamp. One woman wrote a single sentence on a small card and taped it near her kitchen sink. The sentence was, "Do not pass your storm into the next room." Each day after work, before speaking to her family, she would see that line while washing her hands. Sometimes it saved the evening, not always, but often. That one sentence interrupted karma. This is how simple and how profound practice can be. Do not underestimate repetition. The mind is shaped by what it does often. If you complain often, the mind becomes a house of complaint. If you compare often, the mind becomes a field of insufficiency. If you pause often, the mind learns spaciousness. If you return often, the mind learns the path home. If you bless often, the heart becomes more available to gratitude. And when you fail, as you will, do not make a religion out of failure. Begin again. This is one of the most compassionate instructions in all of Buddhism. Begin again. Not because the old pattern is unimportant, but because clinging to your discouragement is just another form of self-centeredness. Begin again with humility. Begin again with patience. Begin again, even if you must do so 1,000 times. A novice once asked an old master, "How many times should I return to the breath when the mind wanders?" The master smiled and said, "As many times as it takes to learn that returning is the path." Returning is the path, not perfection, not display. There is another place where the teaching becomes very real, the place of conflict. Some suffering comes from loss, some from loneliness, some from old wounds. But much suffering is continuously created in the space between people. A look, a tone, an assumption, a hard word, a refusal to listen, a desire to win rather than understand. In this way, small conflicts harden into long estrangements, and long estrangements shape entire lives. The Buddha understood something that most people overlook. Conflict is rarely fed by events alone. It is fed by the self that clings tightly around the event. The more solid the self feels, the more threatened it becomes, and the more it needs to defend an image. This image may be the image of being right, being wronged, being morally superior, being the victim, being the only one who sees clearly. The ego can wear many costumes, including wounded ones. Ksitigarbha's vow invites us into a very different movement. Instead of protecting the self-image at all cost, we protect awakening. Instead of asking, "How do I win this exchange?" we ask, "How do I keep the heart from sinking lower? How do I reduce suffering here?" What would it mean not to abandon truth and also not abandon compassion? This is especially difficult when we feel misunderstood. A man once spent years arguing with his younger sister over how to care for their aging father. Every conversation became a battle. He thought she was irresponsible. She thought he was controlling. Each accused the other of not caring enough. The father's condition worsened, and the bitterness deepened. Finally, a family counselor asked each of them to complete a simple sentence. The brother said, "If I do not control things, everything will fall apart." The sister said, "If he controls everything, there is no room for my love." In those two sentences, the whole conflict became visible. Underneath his control was fear. Underneath her resistance was pain. They were not only fighting about practical matters, they were fighting from unspoken wounds and identities. When this was seen, something softened. Not everything, but enough. The brother began to say, "I am afraid," instead of only giving orders. The sister began to say, "I want to help," instead of only pushing back. The outer situation remained difficult, but the war reduced. This is the power of insight. What argument could not open? Truthfulness opened. Most conflict is not healed by cleverness. It is healed by vulnerability joined with clarity. Yet vulnerability is frightening because we think it makes us weak. In reality, honest vulnerability often reveals strength. To say, "I am hurt," rather than attack. To say, "I am afraid of losing you," rather than accuse. To say, "I need time before I speak," rather than react. These are not signs of weakness. They are forms of awakening. There is a famous saying in many wisdom traditions that hurt people hurt people. This is often true, but incomplete. It is equally true that healed people can help heal people. Centered people can calm situations. Honest people can interrupt denial. One person committed to awareness can change the emotional weather of a whole room. Have you ever noticed how one angry person can disturb a family dinner, while one grounded person can quietly restore balance? This is because minds are not separate in the way we imagine. We affect one another constantly. Tone enters the nervous system. Presence enters the room. Fear spreads. Calm spreads too. Compassion is contagious when it is embodied. A nurse once shared a story from a hospital ward. Two patients in nearby beds were both in pain, both waiting for difficult news, both unable to sleep. One became increasingly agitated and demanded attention with sharpness and complaint. The other, though also suffering, kept speaking gently to the staff and even whispered encouragement to the frightened patient beside him. The nurse said, "I realized that suffering does not automatically make people kind or unkind. It reveals the habits they have practiced all along." What a precise observation. In difficult moments, we do not become new people. We become more obviously the people we have been training ourselves to be. That is why daily practice matters. In crisis, we lean on what has been cultivated. If we have cultivated patience, some patience appears. If we have cultivated blame, blame appears. If we have cultivated mindful breathing, breathing is there to support us. If we have cultivated resentment, resentment derives first. This means that the Bodhisattva path is not built only in sacred moments. It is built in the repeated shaping of character. This is beautiful because it means every day matters. Every small act is practice. Every moment of restraint matters. Every time we choose honesty over manipulation, patience over reactivity, listening over interruption, we are preparing the mind to be a refuge when storms come. Let us speak too about the conflict within oneself, because inner contradiction causes much suffering. A person may want peace and also crave drama, want freedom and also cling to familiar pain. Want intimacy and also fear being known. Want healing and also resist the discomfort of change. This inner division can make the path confusing. We may ask sincerely for awakening while continuing to feed the very states that bind us. We may pray for peace while constantly rehearsing grievance. We may long for love while remaining loyal to old defenses. The Buddha's answer is not condemnation, but mindfulness. See the contradiction clearly. Name it. Bow to it. Learn from it. When we see clearly that a habit hurts us, the heart slowly becomes less willing to cooperate with it. A woman once said during retreat, "I realize now that I say I want peace, but part of me still believes that if I stop being angry, then the people who hurt me will somehow get away with it." This is a very honest insight. Many people cling to anger because they think anger protects justice. But often, anger is not justice. It is pain refusing to unclench. Justice may still be necessary. Boundaries may still be necessary. Truth may still need to be spoken. But hatred is not the same as strength. A forest ranger told a simple story. A fire had broken out in a dry valley, and the whole crew was working quickly to contain it. One new worker was so furious at the carelessness that had caused the fire that he became distracted and inefficient. The ranger took him aside and said, "Use your energy for the line, not for the blame. Right now the hill is burning." This is exactly how the Dharma functions in moments of inner crisis. Right now, the hill is burning. Use your energy for awakening, not for rehearsing blame endlessly, not for feeding the mind's courtroom, not for creating more smoke. Protect what can still be protected. Stop the spread. Breathe. Return. Many people ask, how do I know if I am practicing true compassion or just becoming passive? One helpful answer is this. True compassion reduces delusion. Passive avoidance protects delusion. True compassion may be quiet, but it does not lie. Passive avoidance usually calls itself peace, while silently feeding more suffering. True compassion may say, "I love you, and this cannot continue." Passive avoidance says, "I will keep pretending because conflict frightens me." These are very different. Ksitigarbha does not enter hell to decorate it. The Bodhisattva enters to free beings. In the same way, our compassion should not merely make suffering more comfortable. It should help reveal the path out of suffering. So if someone you love is trapped in destructive behavior, compassion may mean refusing to participate in the pattern. It may mean speaking truth without humiliation. It may mean offering help with clear conditions. It may mean stepping back while keeping the heart free from hatred. All of this can belong to the vow. One of the hardest practices is to remain inwardly soft while outwardly strong. Many people do the opposite. They become outwardly soft and inwardly bitter, or outwardly strong and inwardly hard. But the Dharma invites another possibility. A clear no spoken from a compassionate heart. A firm boundary without contempt. A refusal to enable without a refusal to care. That is very mature love. An elderly teacher once said, "Do not let your love become muddy. Clear water nourishes better." What makes love muddy? Fear, control, pride, guilt, possessiveness, martyr identity, the need to be needed. What makes love clearer? Awareness, humility, truthfulness, patience, and the willingness to let others bear the consequences of their actions while still wishing them freedom from ignorance. This kind of love is not dramatic, but it is liberating. If there is conflict in your life now, bring this teaching close. Before the next difficult conversation, sit quietly. Feel your feet on the ground. Breathe until the body is less reactive. Remember that the person before you is not only their current behavior. Remember that you too are not only your hurt. Set the intention not merely to defend yourself, but to protect what is human between you. Then speak from the deepest place you can reach. You may still be misunderstood. The conversation may still be painful. But if you can remain more awake, you will not leave the encounter feeling that you abandoned your own heart. And that matters greatly. Because one of the most painful forms of regret is not simply, I was hurt. It is, I became someone I do not respect while being hurt. The vow protects us from this. It teaches us to go into darkness without becoming darkness, to meet confusion without worshiping confusion, to face pain without passing it onward. That is the dignity of the path. That is the courage of the Bodhisattva. We should also speak honestly about the modern mind, because the forms of suffering change with conditions. In earlier times, people suffered from famine, war, disease, and physical hardship in obvious ways. We still suffer from these, of course, but many people now live under another kind of pressure, the pressure of constant stimulation. The mind is rarely alone. Screens flash, messages arrive, news pours in, comparison never sleeps. The body sits still while the mind is pulled in 10 directions. Even rest is interrupted. Even silence is quickly filled. What happens to a mind that is never given space to settle? It loses depth. It loses sensitivity. It becomes easily agitated and strangely numb at the same time. A person may scroll through images of suffering from around the world, then seconds later watch something trivial, then answer a message, then compare their life to another's, then feel empty without knowing why. This is not harmless. The nervous system pays a price. The heart pays a price. Attention becomes fragmented, and fragmented attention is fertile ground for craving, anxiety, and despair. Ksitigarbha's vow becomes especially meaningful in such an age, because the Bodhisattva represents descent into depth. The world teaches us to skim across surfaces. The Dharma teaches us to enter. The world teaches us to react quickly. The Dharma teaches us to pause. The world teaches us to curate an image. The Dharma teaches us to know the heart. The world teaches us to consume endlessly. The Dharma teaches us to be intimate with enough. There is a story of a young woman who said she could not meditate because her mind was too busy. Her teacher asked her to spend one day observing how many times she reached for her phone. By sunset, she had counted more than 200 times. She was shocked. "I did not know I was so restless," she said. The teacher replied, "This is how the hungry ghost realm appears in modern form. Hand-reaching, mind-reaching, heart-reaching, but never arriving." This image is very useful. In Buddhist cosmology, hungry ghosts are beings with enormous hunger and tiny throats, always seeking but never satisfied. If we look carefully, much of modern consumption has this flavor. We seek stimulation, attention, validation, novelty, distraction, praise, comfort. Yet after each small feeding, the emptiness soon returns. Then we reach again. The Buddha did not teach against pleasure as such. He taught us to understand the difference between fleeting satisfaction and true peace. Fleeting satisfaction depends on conditions and quickly fades. True peace grows from non-clinging, ethical living, clear seeing, and a heart that can rest in the present. This is why simplicity has such power. A simple meal eaten with awareness may nourish more deeply than an elaborate feast consumed in distraction. A quiet walk under trees may restore more than hours of restless entertainment. One sincere conversation may heal more than hundreds of shallow exchanges. One period of true silence may teach more than endless words. A software engineer once came to a retreat after years of burnout. He said, "My work trains me to respond quickly, solve problems fast, and stay mentally active all the time. But now, even when I am with my family, my mind is still moving as if everything is urgent. I have forgotten how to arrive." During the retreat, he was asked to perform one small practice. Each time a bell sounded, he stopped whatever he was doing, took one breath, and felt his feet on the ground. At first, the practice seemed too small to matter. But by the fourth day, he wept unexpectedly during walking meditation. When asked why, he said, "I think this is the first week in years that I have felt my own life while living it." What a painful sentence. To live a life without feeling it while it is being lived, this is another kind of hell. And because it is common, people mistake it for normal. The vow of Ksitigarbha calls us back from that sleepwalking. It reminds us that to be human is not merely to function. It is to be awake within functioning, to feel while acting, to remain in contact with conscience, impermanence, tenderness, and wonder. If success costs us our own presence, then the price is too high. Many people today are exhausted, not only because they do too much, but because they do too much without inner anchoring. Activity alone does not destroy us. Activity without rootedness does. A tree can withstand strong wind if its roots go deep. A life can withstand busyness if the heart returns regularly to stillness. But when there is no stillness, no practice, no honest inward listening, then even small pressures begin to shake us. This is why sacred pauses matter. A pause before replying. A pause before buying. A pause before posting. A pause before speaking in anger. A pause before saying yes when truth means no. A pause before reaching for another distraction. A pause to ask, what is my heart actually needing now? Often what we need is not what we reach for first. We reach for noise when we need rest. We reach for praise when we need self-acceptance. We reach for control when we need trust. We reach for another person to rescue us when we need to sit honestly with our own pain. We reach for certainty when what is needed is courage. Meditation helps reveal these substitutions. Over time, we begin to see the difference between the craving mind and the wise heart. The craving mind says, more, now, again. The wise heart says, breathe, look, listen, enough. If you wish to practice deeply in the modern world, protect some part of your day from unnecessary invasion. Even 10 minutes of device-free stillness can become a temple. Sit by a window, watch the breath, feel the body. Let the mind show itself. Do not immediately obey the impulse to escape. Stay. This staying is revolutionary in a culture built on restlessness. One father began placing his phone in another room during dinner. At first, it felt awkward. He kept wanting to check it. Then he noticed something unexpected. His daughter started speaking more. His wife's face softened. The meal became slower, less efficient perhaps, but more alive. Months later, he said, "I had thought I was giving up convenience. In truth, I was getting my family back." This is exactly how delusion works. It tells us the small glow in our hand is more urgent than the living faces before us. It tells us later, later, later. But impermanence whispers, now. This meal is happening now. This conversation is happening now. This child is growing now. This life is passing now. Awakening is not somewhere else. It is hidden in our willingness to show up now. If the modern world pulls the mind outward without end, then the vow of Ksitigarbha is like a hand on the shoulder, turning us gently inward again. Not into selfish isolation, but into grounded presence. From that grounded presence, we can re-enter the world more wisely. We can use tools without becoming tools. We can engage information without drowning in it. We can serve without losing the inner temple. And when we fail, as we often will, we return. Again and again, we return. That returning is the lamp in the digital night. No one walks the path entirely alone. Even hermits are shaped by teachers, ancestors, and the kindness of beings they have known. The fantasy of the completely self-made spiritual person is just another form of pride. We need one another. We need wise friends. We need reminders. We need community. We need, at times, to borrow faith from others when our own faith is weak. In Buddhism, this is one reason the Sangha is treasured. The Sangha is not merely a group of people who agree with one another. It is a field of practice, a place where awakening is protected, reflected, encouraged, and embodied. In a healthy Sangha, we are reminded that suffering is not personal failure, that the path includes stumbling, that compassion can be learned, and that truth can be lived in relationship. There was once a man who attended a weekly meditation group, but rarely spoke. One evening, the teacher invited everyone to share one truth they had not wanted to admit. When it came to his turn, the man said quietly, "I think I have become afraid of my own life. I do all the things I am supposed to do, but I feel no joy. I feel like a guest in my own days." Silence filled the room. Then an older woman across from him began to cry. She said, "I thought I was the only one." Another person nodded. Another bowed their head. Nothing was solved in that moment. And yet something profound happened. Shame loosened. The prison of isolation cracked. What had seemed like a private defect was revealed as shared human suffering. This is the medicine of community. It does not erase pain, but it removes the lie that we suffer separately. Many of the inner hells we carry deepen because they remain hidden. Shame grows best in secrecy. Grief hardens when unshared. Fear multiplies in isolation. But when pain is met by compassionate witnesses, it often becomes more workable. Not because others fix it, but because reality is no longer faced in absolute loneliness. At the same time, community is not always comfortable. In spiritual community, we meet our preferences, our impatience, our projections, our expectations. We discover that we want people to be wise in exactly the way we prefer. We want teachings that soothe us but do not challenge us. We want belonging without friction. But real community is also part of practice because it reveals where the self still clings. A young practitioner once complained that his meditation group was full of imperfect people. Some were too emotional, some too opinionated, some too quiet, some too talkative. The teacher smiled and said, "Excellent. Then it is a real Sangha." This is humorous, but deep. If we wait for a perfect community before practicing compassion, we will wait forever. The very imperfections of others become material for awakening. Can you remain open when someone speaks awkwardly? Can you be patient with the one who repeats themselves? Can you resist gossip? Can you apologize when you misread someone? Can you help create an atmosphere where truth can be spoken without fear? These are not side practices. These are the Bodhisattva path in collective form. The vow of Ksitigarbha becomes powerful in community because communities also have hells. A family can become a hell. A workplace can become a hell. A nation can become a hell. Even a spiritual center can become a hell when ego, secrecy, and power go unexamined. Therefore, compassion must be collective as well as individual. We must ask not only, "How is my mind?" but also, what kind of field are we creating together? Are we creating a field of fear or trust? A field of image or honesty? A field of blame or accountability? A field of performance or sincerity? A field where the wounded are quietly excluded, or one where the wounded can heal without being defined by their pain? These are sacred questions. There is a story of a monastery where one monk repeatedly broke small rules. He overslept, forgot chores, misplaced robes, and seemed careless. Several others wanted him removed. The abbot listened and said, "Before we decide, let us each reflect on one thing we ourselves do repeatedly out of unconsciousness." The next week, the atmosphere had changed, not because standards disappeared, but because self-righteousness weakened. The community still addressed the monk's behavior, but with more humility and less hostility. It turned out the monk had been secretly caring for an ill relative at night and sleeping very little. Once the truth was known, practical support appeared. Compassion did not destroy discipline, it deepened it. This is the wisdom we need in every human system. If we address behavior without understanding conditions, we create coldness. If we ignore harmful behavior in the name of understanding, we create confusion. The middle way asks us to hold both truth and context. In your own life, perhaps community is small. Perhaps it is just one friend with whom you can be honest. That too is precious. Do not underestimate a single wise friendship. A person who can tell you gently when you are lost in illusion, and who can sit quietly with you when words are not enough, is a great treasure. The Buddha praised spiritual friendship highly because the path is difficult. On days of clarity, we walk easily. On days of despair, we forget everything we claim to know. On such days, the presence of even one trustworthy person can become a raft. A man recovering from addiction once said that the turning point in his life was not a lecture, not a threat, not even his own fear of collapse. It was one sentence from a friend who looked at him and said, "I am not giving up on you, but I will stop helping you destroy yourself." In that sentence, there was both compassion and boundary, both loyalty and truth. It pierced him more deeply than anger ever had. This is what wise friendship sounds like. Another person shared that after years of depression, the most healing thing anyone said to her was not advice, but "I can sit here with you until the wave passes." To sit with another until the wave passes is no small thing. It is one of the most human expressions of the vow. If you want to support others on the path, cultivate reliability. Be the kind of person whose presence does not increase confusion. Keep confidences. Speak carefully. Do not feed division. Let your words be fewer and truer. Learn to say, "I do not know," when you do not know. Learn to say, "I was wrong," when you are wrong. Learn to say, "I am here," and mean it. Such simple integrity becomes shelter. And if you are the one in darkness now, remember this. Reaching for help is not weakness, it is wisdom. The ego likes to suffer privately because private suffering preserves control. But healing often begins when control softens. The hand that reaches out may tremble, but it is already moving toward life. There is no shame in needing support. Even bodhisattvas appear through other people. Sometimes Ksitigarbha comes as a friend who checks on you. Sometimes as a counselor who listens without judgment. Sometimes as a monastic who offers a teaching at the right moment. Sometimes as a child whose innocence interrupts your anger. Sometimes as a stranger who sees your tears and does not look away. Sometimes as a community that says, "You may come as you are, but please do not stay asleep if awakening is possible." If you have such people in your life, cherish them. If you can become such a person for someone else, do so carefully and humbly. This too is the path. This too empties hell. As we come toward the heart of this reflection, let us return to the image of Earth Store. Earth does not rush. Earth does not boast. Earth receives what falls. Earth holds what is buried. Earth turns what is broken into nourishment. When we call upon Ksitigarbha, we are also calling forth this quality in ourselves, the quality of stable compassion, not the emotion that flares brightly and disappears, not the kindness that exists only when conditions are pleasant, but the deep and patient heart that can stay, the heart that can receive tears without panic, anger without immediate retaliation, confusion without contempt, sorrow without collapse. This kind of heart is not born in a day. It is cultivated through many small acts of honesty and return. Every time we refrain from adding hatred to hurt, we are cultivating earth. Every time we hold the difficult truth without turning it into a weapon, we are cultivating earth. Every time we remain present to our own pain without running into distraction, we are cultivating earth. Every time we accompany another being through darkness without trying to control their journey, we are cultivating earth. There was once an old gardener who lived beside a monastery. Monks and visitors often passed his little gate, and many noticed that his garden seemed beautiful in every season. Even in winter, there was a strange sense of care in the arrangement of stones, bare branches, and resting soil. One novice asked him, "What is your secret? Why does your garden feel peaceful even when nothing is blooming?" The gardener replied, "Because I do not love only flowers. I also love the ground that receives what has fallen." What a perfect teaching. Most people love only flowers. We love success, joy, health, praise, harmony, beauty, and inspiration. But the Bodhisattva loves the ground as well. The fallen leaves, the broken season, the hidden roots, the bare field waiting through cold weather. This does not mean liking suffering. It means not turning away from the conditions through which awakening matures. If you only love blooming, you will fear half of life. If you also love the ground, then even difficult seasons become meaningful. A person going through depression may feel like winter. A family in conflict may feel like a field after a storm. A grieving heart may feel like a tree stripped bare. An aging body may feel like the late autumn garden. Can you still bow to life there? Can you still say, "This too belongs to the path"? Can you still trust that unseen roots are alive? The Buddha often taught through nature because nature reveals the Dharma quietly and directly. Nothing clings to one season forever. Morning becomes afternoon. Growth becomes decay. Decay becomes soil. Soil becomes new life. If we resist change completely, we suffer. If we cooperate with truth, even sorrow can become wisdom. This is why Ksitigarbha's vow is filled with hope, though it speaks of hell. The hope is not shallow optimism. It is the deep confidence that no state of mind is fixed. No darkness is eternal when causes and conditions change. Hatred can become remorse. Remorse can become humility. Humility can become compassion. Confusion can become inquiry. Inquiry can become insight. Insight can become freedom. Think of this carefully. The very energy that once imprisoned a person can, when seen clearly, become part of liberation. The one who has suffered deeply may become deeply compassionate. The one who has made grave mistakes may become profoundly humble. The one who has known loneliness may become exquisitely sensitive to the loneliness of others. The one who has walked through grief may speak with a tenderness impossible to fake. This does not glorify suffering. We do not need to romanticize pain, but we can refuse to waste it. We can let it ripen rather than harden. An elderly physician once said that after decades of treating patients, he had come to notice two different kinds of suffering. Some pain closes the face, he said, and some pain opens it. The difference is not the amount of pain. It is whether the person meets the pain with bitterness or with depth. This is a subtle but powerful teaching. Suffering does not automatically ennoble us. Some suffering makes people harsh. Some makes them wise. What creates the difference? Awareness, support, humility, practice. The willingness to be taught by what hurts instead of using it as proof that love has failed. A woman whose husband had died after a long illness said, "For a year I thought grief was only emptiness. Then one morning I saw a widower in a grocery store, standing frozen in front of 2 brands of soup. And suddenly I understood. He was not choosing soup. He was grieving the person who used to know which one to buy. I wanted to hold his hand, not because I knew his whole story, but because grief had taught me a language deeper than words." That is exactly how the vow becomes embodied. Our wounds, when met wisely, become doors through which we recognize one another. This is why compassion is not abstract. It has eyes. It has ears. It notices. It senses the trembling in a voice, the fatigue behind anger, the loneliness beneath achievement, the grief hidden inside practicality. Compassion sees what the hurried mind overlooks. But for compassion to stay clear, it must be rooted in emptiness, in the insight that no self is separate and fixed. This may sound philosophical, but it is very practical. When we cling tightly to me and mine, we become defensive, possessive, wounded by every slight, addicted to validation. frightened of change. When we see more deeply that all things arise through conditions and pass through conditions, the heart relaxes. We become less obsessed with protecting an image. Then compassion can flow more freely. Emptiness does not mean nothing matters. It means no thing exists independently. It means your suffering is not isolated from the suffering of others. It means your healing is not separate from how you speak, consume, work, and love. It means this very breath depends on air, trees, ancestors, weather, and countless unseen causes. It means interbeing. When we see interbeing, the vow of Ksitigarbha no longer feels impossible. Of course we care for beings, because there are no separate beings in the way ego imagines. Of course we do not want others trapped in hatred, because hatred wounds the whole field. Of course we do not turn away from pain, because pain anywhere belongs to the shared human condition. This insight is not meant to overwhelm us. It is meant to soften the false walls around the heart. There is a little story about two brothers who farmed neighboring fields. One was married with children. The other lived alone. Each secretly worried about the other. The married brother thought, "My brother has no one to care for him in old age." The single brother thought, "My brother has many mouths to feed." So at night, without telling the other, each carried sacks of grain to the other's barn. This continued for some time. One moonlit night they met on the path, each carrying grain for the other, and finally understood. Why does this story move us so deeply? Because for a moment it reveals what life looks like when the illusion of separateness relaxes. Each sees the other's need as part of his own responsibility. Each gives without display. Each protects the dignity of the other. This is Bodhisattva spirit in ordinary clothes. Not all of us can do something large, but every one of us can carry a sack of grain in some form. A call to someone who has gone quiet, a meal for a tired parent, a patient answer instead of a harsh one, a donation made quietly, a younger person encouraged, an elder visited, a conflict approached with humility, a screen put down to listen, a memory forgiven, a habit interrupted, a prayer for someone difficult, a breath taken before harm is spoken. This is grain on the path. This is how the world is mended. If these reflections are helping your heart settle, you may wish to subscribe to Buddha Peaceful Mind and return for more teachings like this. And if someone you love is walking through a dark season, perhaps you can gently share this reflection with them, not to fix them, but to let them know they are not alone. Now let us go still for a moment and bring all of this home. Perhaps there is someone in your life right now who is living in a kind of hell. Perhaps it is obvious. Perhaps it is hidden. Perhaps it is a child growing quiet. Perhaps a partner covered in irritation. Perhaps a parent buried in regret. Perhaps a friend who smiles too easily. Perhaps a stranger you pass every day. Perhaps the one in darkness is you. Do not be frightened by this. Do not make it dramatic. Simply begin where you are. Place one hand on the heart if you like. Breathe as if you are bowing inwardly. Then ask, with all sincerity, what pain here is asking to be seen? What habit here keeps the fire alive? What truth here has not been spoken? What act of compassion is possible today? Not someday, today. If the answer is to rest, then rest with awareness. If the answer is to apologize, then apologize with humility. If the answer is to set a boundary, then set it without hatred. If the answer is to seek help, then seek it without shame. If the answer is to listen, then listen fully. If the answer is simply to breathe and not abandon yourself tonight, then let that be enough. A monk caring for the dying once said, "At the edge of life, people rarely ask whether they owned enough, impressed enough, or won enough. More often they ask, did I love? Did I awaken? Did I remain human?" Let these be your questions now, before the edge arrives. Did I love? Did I awaken? Did I remain human? The vow of Ksitigarbha is not asking us to become mythical overnight. It is asking us to remain human at the deepest level. To remain human when disappointed, human when angry, human when afraid, human when powerful, human when grieving, human when no one is praising us, human when another person is difficult, human when our own mind is difficult. To remain human in this way is already to walk toward Buddhahood. So if tonight you feel small, remember this. A lamp does not need to be the sun in order to matter. If it helps one traveler take one more true step, it has fulfilled a noble purpose. Your practice may seem small. Your kindness may seem unnoticed. Your effort to break one old pattern may seem invisible to the world. Do not underestimate it. Whole futures are changed by such things. One patient apology may save a marriage. One pause may prevent a cruel sentence. One teacher's faith may save a child from despair. One sober day may become a new life. One act of self-compassion may stop the inheritance of violence. One moment of mindfulness may interrupt generations of unconsciousness. This is how hell empties, not always all at once. Sometimes one being at a time. Sometimes one breath at a time. Sometimes one family at a time. Sometimes one heart finally willing to turn back toward the light at a time. And if you feel that your own heart has been buried under too much pain, remember the seed. Buried is not the same as dead. Hidden is not the same as lost. Winter is not the end of the tree. Beneath the ground, unseen work continues. Beneath the sorrow, awareness remains. Beneath the fear, the capacity to love has not been destroyed. Trust this gently. Practice this patiently. Protect this quietly. Then wherever you go, even in difficult places, you will carry a little of the Bodhisattva's vow. You will become less interested in judging who deserves compassion and more interested in becoming its vessel. You will stop asking only, "Why is the world so dark?" and begin asking, "How can I keep a lamp lit here?" This is enough, more than enough, for a true beginning. Before we close, let us enter a final contemplation. Imagine once more the figure of Ksitigarbha, not as an image far away in myth alone, but as a presence standing quietly at the edge of your own life. No thunder, no spectacle, no fear. Just a vast and steady compassion, patient as earth, clear as a lamp, gentle as a hand placed on the shoulder of one who has suffered too long. What would such a presence say to you? Perhaps it would say, "Stop running for a moment Be still enough to feel what your life has been trying to teach you. Perhaps it would say, do not confuse your wound with your whole identity. Perhaps it would say, the darkness you fear is also the place where hidden tenderness waits. Perhaps it would say, you do not need to become extraordinary. You need to become sincere. Perhaps it would say, return to the place in yourself you have abandoned and bring a lamp. Many people are looking for a sign, a voice, a guarantee that healing is possible. The Dharma rarely flatters us with certainty, but it offers something more reliable. It offers a path. Not a path that removes all pain, but a path that transforms our relationship to pain. Not a path that makes us special, but one that makes us real. Not a path that allows us to avoid darkness, but one that teaches us how to enter darkness without losing the way. And this may be the most beautiful thing of all. The path does not ask us to wait until we are pure before we begin. It asks us to begin with what is here. Anger here. Fear here. Shame here. Loneliness here. Hope here. Weariness here. Love here. Everything can be included in the field of practice. Nothing needs to be hidden from awareness. Nothing needs to be exiled forever. This is why Buddhism is so compassionate. It does not say, first become flawless, then approach the truth. It says, come as you are and look deeply. See the causes. Stop feeding what binds you. Nourish what frees you. Return again and again. In this returning, wisdom grows. A young mother once said that after years of spiritual reading, the most transformative insight came not from a book, but from one simple moment. Her child was having a tantrum on the kitchen floor. She felt irritation rising fast. Her old pattern would have been to respond with harshness, but in that moment, she suddenly saw two children in the room, not one. There was her crying son, and there was the frightened child inside herself who had never learned how to stay calm when emotions became intense. She took one breath, then another, and knelt down. Later, she said, for the first time, I was not only parenting my son, I was also refusing to pass my own unhealed fear into him. That is the path. So ordinary on the surface, so immense in karmic consequence. The world changes whenever one person refuses to continue unconsciousness. Another man described visiting his estranged father after many years. He had rehearsed speeches in his mind for days. He planned to explain his pain, defend his choices, and demand recognition. But when he entered the room, he saw not the giant figure from his childhood, but an old man with trembling hands trying to button a shirt. In that moment, the son's anger did not disappear, but it was joined by something wider. Mortality entered the room. Human fragility entered the room. The son later said, I realized I had spent years fighting a memory while an aging human being had been quietly becoming breakable. This too is wisdom. To see the passing nature of everyone around us. To remember that each person, however difficult, is moving towards sickness, aging, and death. This remembrance does not excuse cruelty, but it softens unnecessary hardness. It reminds us that time is limited, that pride is expensive, that tenderness should not always be delayed. If you wish, you can make a quiet dedication in your own heart now. May the places in me that feel like hell be met with awareness. May the beings in my life who suffer be touched by compassion. May I learn to speak in ways that heal more than they harm. May I not abandon myself in moments of weakness. May I not abandon others in moments when my presence could be medicine. May I have the courage to set boundaries without hatred. May I have the humility to apologize when I cause pain. May I have the patience to begin again when I fail. May I remember that even small lamps matter. These are not small aspirations. They shape a life. And when discouragement comes, because it will, do not let discouragement become doctrine. Some people fall into the habit of saying, "This is just how I am. I will never change. My family has always been this way. My mind is too broken. My anger is too old. My sorrow is too deep." But this is not the voice of wisdom. It is the voice of fatigue pretending to be truth. Conditions change. Habits can be weakened. New seeds can be planted. Even if the transformation is gradual, gradual is not meaningless. Mountains are shaped gradually. Riverbanks are shaped gradually. Character is shaped gradually too. One old practitioner laughed when someone asked him when he became peaceful. He said, "I am still becoming less foolish." That answer is wonderfully honest. Perhaps this is enough. Not to become perfect, but to become less foolish, less quick to wound, less eager to judge, less willing to abandon the heart, less obedient to fear, less fascinated by resentment, less asleep in our own life, and at the same time more available to kindness, more able to listen, more rooted in truth, more intimate with impermanence, more willing to stand where suffering is and not turn away. If this reflection has brought even a little steadiness to your heart, you may leave a quiet sign of your presence by liking the video or subscribing to Buddha Peaceful Mind, so we can continue walking this path together through future teachings. And if tonight there is someone whose heart feels dark, perhaps send them your kindness before you sleep. Even a silent blessing can change the way you meet tomorrow. Let us end with this understanding. The greatest light is not always bright. Sometimes it is gentle. Sometimes it is hidden in ordinary faithfulness. Sometimes it looks like a daughter placing a flower by a window. Sometimes it looks like a father learning to apologize. Sometimes it looks like a prisoner carrying water to the sick. Sometimes it looks like a lonely person lighting one candle and deciding not to leave themselves tonight. Sometimes it looks like you, listening here, feeling something soften, and choosing to live a little more awake after this moment ends. If so, then the vow is already alive. If so, then the Bodhisattva is not far away. If so, then even now, in this very life, the path is beneath your feet. Walk it gently. Walk it truly. Walk it with a heart that does not turn away from suffering and does not lose faith in awakening. That heart is the lamp. That lamp is the way home.